It was a Wednesday, the sun was out. Birds were chirping. I was on my third cup of coffee, pretending I understood the JIRA ticket I just closed by changing one line of CSS. And then he said it. Hey, quick thing. When you get time, can you just refactor that old user module? Shouldn't take more than a few hours. Just refactor. Just refactor. That phrase has the same energy as, it's just a small asteroid. Shouldn't be a problem. Here's the thing. When a manager says refactor, they mean make the code cleaner. What I hear, burn it all, salt the earth, start society over using only what you can carry, and a vague memory of functional architecture. So I open the file. It's 8,000 lines long. There are comments from 2014. One of them just says, fix this, please, I have a family. I keep scrolling. It references a user object called legacy user. But legacy user is never defined anywhere, like some kind of ghost variable from a lost civilization. I try to follow the logic. One function leads to another, which leads to another. Eventually, I find myself inside something called user handler final main new v2bkup. You ever seen a file so terrifying you physically squint? I swear I saw a comment in there that just said new. But hey, I'm a developer. I'm brave. I'm caffeinated. So I start small, rename a few variables, delete one redundant function. The build breaks. Why? Because that function was secretly being used by 9 different services in places no human being should ever look, like buried inside an XML file, called by a shell script, triggered by a cron job, written by a guy named Anuj, who left the company in 2016. Still, I persist. I decide to modernize it, maybe even add types, maybe even document things. Who am I kidding? I'm 3 hours in, and now nothing works. The login screen is gone. The dashboard is blank. The app has entered what I call emotional downtime. I ping my manager. Hey, quick check-in, small update on the refactor. He replies, oh yeah. How's it going? I stare at the screen. Everything is broken. My soul is flickering. I type, going well, smiley face, because I don't want to scare him. Yet, I take a break, try to get lunch, but I can't stop thinking about the logic. My salad becomes a decision tree. My fork is a recursive loop. I come back to the screen with a single goal, fix it. Instead, I discover the code was using a third-party auth service that no longer exists. The domain literally redirects to an e-commerce site now. You click login, and suddenly you're buying pants. It's at this point that I realize I haven't refactored anything. What I've done is disturbed an ancient, delicate balance. The code worked because it was afraid to fall apart. Now that I've poked it, the entire system is spiraling like a civilization after it loses indoor plumbing. At 4 p.m., I start mumbling to myself. Not real words, just sound effects. Okay, so if the user handler pipes into the legacy validator and then passes through the auth switch, but only if the flag is active, muffled screaming. At one point, I actually draw a diagram on paper. I look at it. It resembles a subway map made by a toddler during an earthquake. My manager pings me again. Hey, you think that refactor will be done today? I respond with, technically, yes. Mentally, no. Spiritually, I'm rebuilding Rome. The thing is, refactoring isn't cleaning. It's archaeology. You don't rewrite. You excavate. You don't modernize. You beg the system to forgive you. You don't improve. You sacrifice. By 6 p.m., I have a version that works, which means it runs on my machine. It doesn't crash immediately and no one has called security yet. I merge it. Write a commit message that simply says, I did what I could. May God have mercy. My manager replies, nice. See, wasn't that bad? I stare at the screen. Flashbacks of recursive calls, database tables older than MySpace, a single variable named X that somehow powered the entire auth flow. And I say, yeah, super easy, barely an inconvenience. Thank you. This has been the Git Show, episode 12. My manager said refactor. I heard rebuild civilization. If you've ever been asked to just clean it up a little and ended up refactoring your entire belief system, like, subscribe. And remember, it's not a refactor, it's a spiritual reset with version control.